Captain Velthara floated in the command center of her ship, watching the stars through the clear walls. Her body glowed with soft blue light, like all her people. The Jeltari were gentle creatures who looked like floating jellyfish made of water and light. They came from a world with weak gravity and calm oceans. The research ship Gentle Current moved slowly through space. It was beautiful, made of living coral and metal that grew together. 200 Jeltari crew members worked inside, studying new planets and looking for interesting life forms. They had been traveling for 3 months far from their homeworld. "Captain," called Science Officer Kemlatha from across the room. Her voice sounded like water flowing over stones. "We are getting strange readings from the next system." Velthara moved through the water-filled corridors to look at the screens. Her people did not walk like land creatures. They swam through their ships, which were filled with the salty water they needed to live. "What kind of readings?" she asked. "Old technology. Very old. It looks like some kind of defense system from a dead civilization." The Jeltari knew about the Kethmori. They were a warrior race that died out thousands of years ago. They built weapons and traps all over the galaxy before they disappeared. Most of their old machines had stopped working long ago. "We should be careful," Velthara said. "But we need to study it. This could be very important for science." The Gentle Current moved closer to the strange readings. Soon they could see metal structures floating in space. They were huge and dark, covered with weapons that looked like they could destroy planets. "It looks dead," said Engineer Peldrin. "No power readings, no movement." "Good. Let's get closer and take some pictures." But as soon as their ship came near the old machines, everything changed. Lights started flashing on the metal structures. Energy fields appeared around the Gentle Current like a glowing net. "Captain," Kemlatha's voice was full of fear. "The defense system is turning on. It's trapping us." Alarms started making soft sounds through the ship. The Jeltari did not like loud noises, so even their warning sounds were gentle, but the crew could see the danger on their screens. "How is this possible?" Velthara asked. "These machines are thousands of years old." "The Kethmori built them to last forever," Peldrin said. "They turn on when any ship gets too close." The energy net around their ship started getting tighter. Small robot fighters came out of the big structures and began shooting at the Gentle Current. The shots were not meant to destroy the ship quickly. They were meant to hurt it slowly, until it died. "Shields at 70%, reported the defense officer. "But they are getting weaker with each hit." Velthara felt her body start to glow brighter with stress. This was very bad. Her people were peaceful. They had never been in a real fight before. Their ships were built for exploring, not for war. "Can we break free?" she asked. "I don't think so," Peldrin said sadly. "The energy net is too strong, and every time we try to move, those robot fighters shoot us more." "How long can we last?" "Maybe 3 days. After that, our power will be gone and life support will fail." The Jeltari needed their ship's systems to stay alive. Without power, the water would get too cold and the air would become poison. All 200 crew members would die slowly. "What about calling for help?" asked Kemlatha. "Who would come?" Velthara said. "We are too far from home. It would take weeks for any Jeltari ship to reach us." "There might be other ships in nearby systems." "Yes, but what kind of ships? Most peaceful races like us could not fight these old machines. They would just get trapped too." But as she thought about it, Velthara realized they had no choice. They had to try something. "Send out a distress signal," she ordered. "Send it to all nearby systems. Maybe someone can help us." The communications officer, a young Jeltari named Belcora, started working on the message. Her tentacles moved quickly over the control surfaces. "What should I say, Captain? Tell them we are trapped by old Kethmori machines. Tell them we need help breaking free. Tell them we will die if no one comes." The message went out in all directions, traveling faster than light to any system that might have ships. The crew of the Gentle Current waited and hoped. Hours passed. The robot fighters kept shooting. The shields got weaker. The crew became more afraid. "Any answers to our signal?" Velthara asked. "Nothing yet, Captain. But there is one system nearby that I haven't tried. Which one? The Sol system. But Captain, that system is marked as forbidden in our star charts. Velthara remembered hearing about Sol. It was a yellow star with several planets. One of the planets was marked as a Class 12 death world in the galactic databases. The report said it was too dangerous for any intelligent life to survive there. Why is it forbidden? The planet called Earth is listed as a nightmare world. It has crushing gravity, poisonous air, violent weather, and dangerous animals. The Galactic Council put it under quarantine long ago. But is there any intelligent life there? The old reports say maybe, but if there is, they would be too dangerous to contact. The Council called them Deathworlders and said never to go near that system. Velthara thought about this. Her people were dying. In 2 days, maybe less, they would all be dead. What did it matter if the beings in the Sol system were dangerous? They could not be more dangerous than slow death in space. Send the signal to the Sol system too, she ordered. But Captain, do it. We have nothing left to lose. Belcora sent the distress signal toward the forbidden system. She did not expect an answer. Who would live on a death world? And if someone did live there, would they even care about strangers asking for help? More time passed. The shields were down to 40%. Some of the robot fighters were getting closer to the ship. Their weapons were starting to damage the hull. Captain, Belcora called out suddenly. I'm getting a signal. From where? The Sol system. Someone is answering our call. The whole command center became quiet. Even the gentle sounds of water flowing through the ship seemed to stop. What does it say? It says, "This is Deep Space Station Prometheus. We received your distress call. Help is on the way. Hold tight, we'll get you out of there." Velthara could not believe it. Someone from the forbidden death world was coming to help them. But what kind of beings were they? And could they really fight the ancient Kethmori machines? How long until they get here? She asked. They didn't say, Captain. Send another message. Ask them how long. The answer came back quickly. Rescue ship launching now. We'll be there in 18 hours. 18 hours. That was impossible. It took days or weeks to travel between star systems, even with the fastest ships. Are you sure that's what they said? Yes, Captain. 18 hours. Velthara looked around at her crew. They were all glowing with confused light patterns. None of them understood how anyone could travel so fast through space. But they had hope now. Someone was coming. The beings from the death world were on their way. Everyone keep working, Velthara ordered. We need to stay alive for 18 more hours. Then we'll see what kind of help the Deathworlders can give us. She just hoped they would live long enough to find out. Exactly 18 hours later, the crew of the Gentle Current watched their screens in amazement. A new ship appeared out of nowhere, moving faster than anything they had ever seen. By the deep waters, whispered Science Officer Kemlatha. How did they get here so quickly? The human ship was nothing like the beautiful living coral of Jeltari vessels. It looked like a weapon made of dark metal and sharp angles. Strange symbols were painted on its side, and it had no curves at all. To the Jeltari, it looked cold and dead. Captain Velthara stared at the newcomer. That ship looks like it was built for war. Captain, they're trying to talk to us, reported Communications Officer Belcora. Put them through. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded rough and strange, nothing like the flowing voices of the Jeltari. But the words were in perfect galactic standard. This is Commander Sarah Chen of the UES Valkyrie. We're here to help. What's your status? Velthara had never heard a voice like that before. It was hard and strong but not mean. It sounded like someone who was used to giving orders and being obeyed. This is Captain Velthara of the Jeltari research vessel, Gentle Current. We are trapped by ancient defense systems. Our shields are failing and we cannot escape. Understood. We're going to get you out of there. First, we need to know more about these defense systems. Can you send us your scan data? The Jeltari quickly sent all their information about the Kethmori machines. They waited to hear what the humans would say. Interesting, came Commander Chen's voice. These are definitely old Kethmori defense grids. Nasty stuff, but nothing we can't handle. We've seen similar setups before? You have? Velthara was shocked. But these machines are thousands of years old. Yeah, the Kethmori like to build things that lasted. Don't worry, we specialize in breaking old military hardware. Velthara did not understand. How could these beings from a death world know about ancient alien weapons? And how could they be so calm about it? Captain Velthara, we'd like to establish full communication. Would it be possible to open a visual channel? The Jeltari looked at each other nervously. They had never seen a death worlder before, but they were dying, and these beings had come to help them. Yes, we can do that. The screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at something impossible. Commander Chen was clearly alive and intelligent, but she looked nothing like any creature they had ever seen. She had solid skin instead of flowing water, and her body was held up by hard bones. Her eyes were small and sharp, and her mouth had white teeth that looked like they were made for cutting meat. "Hello, Captain Velthara," Commander Chen said with what the Jeltari hoped was a friendly expression. "It's good to meet you." Velthara tried not to show her fear. The human looked so solid and strong. How could something like that be alive? "Hello, Commander Chen. Thank you for coming to help us. But I must ask, how did you know our language?" "Galactic Standard. We learned it from some database fragments we found floating in space a few years ago. We've been studying it, hoping to meet other intelligent species someday." "Database fragments? Probably from an old trade ship or something. The galaxy seems to be full of ancient technology. We find stuff all the time." This was getting stranger and stranger. The humans talked about finding alien technology like it was normal. Most civilized species avoided dangerous artifacts. "Commander, may I ask about your world? Our records show that your system was quarantined long ago." Chen laughed, and the sound made several Jeltari crew members glow with fear. "Quarantined? That's funny. We never knew anyone was out here. We've been exploring space for decades, but this is our first time meeting aliens. But the records say your planet is a Class 12 death world. They say it's too dangerous for intelligent life." "Dangerous?" Chen looked confused. "Earth is just a normal planet to us. I mean, sure, we have some big storms and earthquakes, but every planet has weather." Velthara could not believe what she was hearing. The humans called their death world normal. "Commander, our scientists say your planet has gravity that would crush most species, air that would poison us, and animals that hunt and kill for food." "Well, yeah, but we evolved there. It doesn't seem dangerous to us." Chen paused and looked thoughtful. "Although I guess if you're used to gentler worlds, it might be a bit rough." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the human ship's science officer, appeared on the screen next to Chen. She looked just as solid and dangerous as the commander. "Captain Velthara, may I ask about your physiology? You look like you're made of water and light. That's beautiful, but very different from us. We are aquatic beings. We need water to live, and we come from a world with gentle gravity and calm seas." "Fascinating. And what's the gravity on your home world?" "0.3 standard units." Dr. Vasquez's eyes went wide. "0.3? That's almost like floating in space. No wonder you seem so delicate. What is the gravity on your world?" "About 1.0 standard units," the Jeltari crew gasped. That was more than 3 times their world's gravity. How could anything move under such crushing weight? "But that's impossible," Kemlatha said. "How do you not get crushed flat?" "We're built for it," Chen said simply. "Strong bones, dense muscles. It makes us pretty tough compared to species from lighter worlds." As they talked, the Jeltari learned more about the humans. They came from a world where survival meant being strong and smart and quick. They were used to solving problems by direct action. When something was in their way, they moved it or broke it or went around it. "Speaking of problems," Chen said, "let's get you out of this trap. We've been studying these defense systems while we talked. Can you really break us free?" "Oh yeah, this should be pretty straightforward. The Kethmori built tough systems, but they're designed to fight other energy-based civilizations. We use different methods." "What kind of methods?" Chen smiled, showing those sharp teeth again. "We're going to blow things up until they stop working." The Jeltari stared at her in shock. "Blow things up? That seems so violent and crude. Is that safe?" Velthara asked. "For us? Sure, we do this kind of thing all the time. For you, just stay inside your ship's shields and you'll be fine." Commander Chen turned to someone off-screen. "Morrison, prep the Marines for a boarding action. We're going to take out that control node." "Roger that, Commander. How big do you want the boom?" "Big enough to make a statement, small enough not to hurt our new friends." The human ship moved toward the ancient Kethmori structures. The robot fighters that had been slowly killing the gentle current turned their attention to the newcomer. The Jeltari watched in amazement as the human weapons fired back. They were not energy beams like most civilized species used. They were physical projectiles that moved incredibly fast and hit with tremendous force. "What are those weapons?" asked Engineer Peldrin. "Kinetic impactors," Dr. Vasquez explained. "We call them railguns. They fire solid metal slugs at a significant fraction of light speed. But that's so primitive. Primitive maybe, but very effective. Energy shields are designed to stop energy weapons. They don't do as well against chunks of metal moving at relativistic speeds." The ancient robot fighters were being destroyed one by one. The Kethmori had never planned for enemies who threw rocks really, really hard. "Commander," Velthara said, "I must ask, are all humans like you?" "What do you mean?" "So calm about dangerous situations. So ready to fight." Chen thought about this. "I guess we are. Our world taught us that problems don't solve themselves. If something needs doing, you do it. If something's in your way, you move it. And if you can't move it, then you break it." The Jeltari realized they were seeing something the galaxy had never known before. A species that didn't just survive on a death world, they thrived on it. And now they had come to space, bringing their death world solutions with them. "Don't worry, Captain," Chen said. "We'll have you out of there soon. And then maybe we can learn more about this galaxy of yours." Marine Sergeant Jake Morrison checked his armor one last time before the mission. He was a big man, even by human standards, with muscles built for Earth's heavy gravity and scars from a dozen dangerous missions. "All right, people," he said to his squad. "We've got friendly aliens trapped by some old robot defense system. Our job is to get in there and shut it down." "How tough are these robots, Sarge?" asked Corporal Williams. "Probably tough enough to give the aliens trouble, but they're thousands of years old. We've got better gear." Morrison's squad had 6 Marines, all carrying the best weapons Earth could make. They had plasma cutters for getting through walls, electromagnetic pulse grenades for shutting down electronics, and enough explosives to level a small building. "Remember," Morrison continued, "those aliens are fragile. Their whole ship is made of living coral and they float around in salt water. We're probably scarier to them than the robots are." Through his helmet radio, Morrison could hear the aliens talking to Commander Chen. They sounded worried and confused. He didn't blame them. Most humans would be nervous about meeting aliens too. "Sergeant Morrison," came Chen's voice, "you're cleared for the boarding operation. Target is the main control node on the largest structure." "Copy that, Commander. We'll get your aliens free." Morrison and his squad used small rocket packs to fly from the Valkyrie to the Kethmori control station. The ancient structure was huge and covered with weapon ports and sensor arrays. "Ugly thing, isn't it?" said Private Jackson. "Function over form," Morrison replied. The Kethmori weren't interested in making pretty buildings. They landed on the station's hull and started looking for a way inside. The metal was incredibly hard, but their plasma cutters made quick work of it. "Breach in 30 seconds, Morrison reported. Inside the alien station, emergency lights were flashing red. The corridors were built for creatures much larger than humans, with ceilings that went up into darkness. Motion sensors picking up multiple contacts, warned Corporal Davis. "Looks like guard robots." "How many?" "A lot." The first robot came around a corner like a metal spider the size of a car. It had 6 legs and weapon arms that crackled with energy. When it saw the humans, it made a sound like grinding metal and opened fire. Morrison's squad scattered and returned fire. Their kinetic weapons punched holes right through the robot's armor. It fell down, sparking and twitching. "That wasn't so bad," said Williams. "Don't get cocky," Morrison warned. "There's probably 100 more where that came from." He was right. As they moved deeper into the station, more robots attacked them. Some were small and fast, others were huge and heavily armored, but they all had the same problem. They were designed to fight energy weapons, not the brutal kinetic force that humans preferred. Captain Velthara watched the human soldiers on her ship's screens. She could hardly believe what she was seeing. There, walking through a Kethmori battle, station like it's a training exercise, she said to her science officer. "Those robots would kill any of us instantly," Kemlatha replied. "But the humans just shoot them and keep moving." Dr. Vasquez's voice came through the communication channel. "Captain, can you tell us more about how these defense systems work? We want to make sure we shut them down completely." "The robots are controlled by a central computer brain," Velthara explained. "If you can destroy that, the whole system should shut down." "Where is this computer brain?" "It should be at the center of the main station in the most protected area." "Got it." "Morrison, did you hear that?" Roger, Doc. We're heading for the center now. The human squad moved through the station like they owned it. When doors were locked, they blew them open. When robots attacked, they destroyed them. When corridors were blocked, they made new ones with explosives. Sergeant, Jackson called out. You need to see this. Morrison looked where Jackson was pointing. There was writing on the wall in the old Kethmori language. But there were pictures too. The pictures showed the builders of this station. Huge creatures with 4 arms and armor-plated skin. They look mean, Williams observed. Yeah, but they're dead now, Morrison said. And we're not. They reached the central chamber where the computer brain was located. It was a massive crystal structure surrounded by energy fields and guard robots. The robots were bigger here and their weapons were more powerful. This is it, Morrison announced. Time to shut this thing down. How do we do that, Sarge? Morrison looked at the crystal computer, then at the explosives his squad was carrying. When in doubt, use more explosives. The battle for the control room was fierce. The guard robots were tougher than the ones in the corridors, and their energy weapons actually managed to damage human armor. But Morrison's squad had something the robots didn't expect. Tactics. Humans had learned to fight in groups on a world where cooperation meant survival. While some Marines drew the robots' attention, others flanked around and attacked from behind. They used the station's own structure against the defenders, collapsing ceiling sections and redirecting energy flows. Captain Velthara watched the humans work and felt something she had never experienced before. Her people were peaceful. They solved problems through discussion and careful planning. But watching the humans fight, she felt a strange excitement. They're magnificent, she whispered. Captain, Kimlatha looked at her with concern. Look at them. They're not just fighting, they're thinking. Every move has a purpose. Every action helps the team. On the station, Morrison's squad had cleared out the guard robots. Now they stood in front of the central computer, trying to figure out how to destroy it. EMP grenades might work, suggested Davis. Or we could just shoot it a lot, added Williams. Morrison studied the crystal structure. It was beautiful in its own way, like a giant gem that pulsed with inner light, but it was also the brain of a machine that was trying to kill innocent aliens. Stand back, he ordered. We're going to do this the human way. He placed several explosive charges around the base of the crystal computer. The charges were small but powerful, designed to crack armor and destroy machinery. Fire in the hole. The explosion shook the entire station. The crystal computer shattered into 1,000,000 pieces, its light fading as the fragments scattered across the floor. Immediately, all the flashing lights on the station went dark. The robot fighters that had been attacking the gentle current stopped moving and drifted dead in space. That's it, Morrison reported. Defense grid is down. The aliens are free to go. Commander Chen's voice came through the radio. Outstanding work, Sergeant. Come on home. As the Marines made their way back to their ship, Morrison looked around at the destroyed station. You know, for ancient killer robots, they weren't that tough. Maybe we're just that good, Sarge, Williams said. Maybe we are. Captain Velthara felt her ship shake as the energy trap around them disappeared. For the first time in days, they were free. Captain, Engineer Peldrin called out. Our engines are responding. We can move again. Thank the deep currents, Velthara sighed. Then she opened a channel to the human ship. Commander Chen, we cannot thank you enough. You have saved all our lives. Just glad we could help, Chen replied. But Captain, we have a lot to talk about. You said this galaxy has a council of species. We'd like to know more about that. Of course. But Commander, I must warn you. When the galactic community learns about humans, it will change everything. How so? Velthara thought about how to explain it. For thousands of years, civilized species have avoided danger. We call for evacuation when faced with threats. We have no warriors, no soldiers, no one who can do what your people just did. So what happens when something really dangerous shows up? Usually, we just hope it goes away. There was silence on the communication channel for a moment. That's about to change, Chen said finally. If there are other species out there who need help, we'll help them. That's what humans do. Velthara glowed with warm colors as she realized what this meant. The galaxy had been protected by distance and luck for so long, but now it had something better. It had humans. Dr. Elena Vasquez floated in the water-filled medical bay of the gentle current, wearing a special breathing apparatus that let her study the Jeltari up close. She had never seen anything so beautiful and alien. Bioengineer Kelnara drifted nearby, her transparent body pulsing with curious blue lights. She was the Jeltari's chief scientist, and she had many questions about the strange solid creatures who had saved them. "Your body is so dense," Kelnara said in wonder. "How do you move with all that weight?" "We have strong muscles and thick bones," Elena explained. "On our world, everything is heavy. We had to grow strong to survive. But how do you heal when you get hurt? Your body cannot regrow parts like ours can." Elena smiled. "We heal differently. Our bodies repair damage over time, and we've learned to help the process with medicine and surgery." Kelnara's lights flickered with fascination. "Surgery? You mean you cut into your own bodies to fix them?" "When we have to, yes. That sounds terrifying. It's just another tool for solving problems." In the command center, Captain Velthara was having her own conversation with Commander Chen. They had been talking for hours, sharing information about their worlds and their people. "Tell me about your planet," Velthara said. "What makes it so dangerous?" Chen thought about how to explain Earth to someone who had never experienced real danger. "Well, our gravity is strong enough to kill most aliens if they fall down. Our weather includes storms that can destroy cities. We have earthquakes that crack the ground open and volcanoes that spit out melted rock. And you call this normal?" "For us, yes. We evolved there. Our ancestors learned to run from predators, hide from storms, and work together to survive. It made us tough. Predators? Animals that hunt and eat other animals. Including our ancestors sometimes." Velthara glowed with shocked patterns. In her world, all creatures lived in harmony. Plants grew where they were needed. Animals helped each other, and death from violence was almost unknown. "How do you sleep at night, knowing there are creatures that want to kill you? Most of them don't bother us anymore. We're too good at fighting back now." The Jeltari captain tried to imagine a world where survival meant constant alertness and readiness for violence. It seemed like a nightmare. "Commander, may I ask about your weapons? They seem so direct," Chen laughed. "You mean crude?" "Yeah, we're not big on fancy energy beams. We like things that work reliably. Kinetic weapons are simple. You point them at something and pull the trigger. Physics does the rest. But surely there are more elegant solutions." "Maybe. But elegant doesn't matter if it doesn't work when you need it. We learned a long time ago that the best solution is usually the simplest one." Dr. Vasquez and Kelnara continued their scientific exchange. The human doctor was amazed by how the Jeltari had evolved to live in perfect harmony with their environment. "Your bodies can regrow lost parts," Elena said. "You communicate through light patterns. You never fight or compete violently. It's beautiful, but also weak," Kelnara admitted sadly. "When we face real danger, we have no defenses. We can only run away or call for help. That's not weakness. That's just different evolution. Your people developed cooperation and harmony. Ours developed strength and aggression. Both have value, but your way lets you help others. Our way only works when everything is peaceful." Elena nodded thoughtfully. "Maybe that's why we found each other. You have knowledge and wisdom. We have strength and determination. Together we might be able to do more than either of us could alone." Sergeant Morrison and his Marines were helping repair damage to the Jeltari ship. The gentle aliens watched in amazement as the humans worked. "They're so fast," whispered Engineer Peldrin. "And they make it look easy." The humans used tools that seemed crude compared to Jeltari biotechnology. But they worked with an efficiency that impressed everyone who watched. "Sarge," asked Corporal Williams, "why are they all so scared of us?" Morrison looked at the Jeltari crew members who kept their distance and glowed with nervous colors whenever humans came near. "Think about it, Williams. They're basically living jellyfish from a water world with almost no gravity. We're solid muscle and bone from a heavy world where everything tries to kill you. To them, we probably look like walking nightmares, but we're here to help them." "Yeah, but they don't know that yet. Give them time." Captain Velthara approached Morrison carefully. The human sergeant was huge compared to her delicate form, and his movements seemed violent even when he was being gentle. "Sergeant Morrison," she said, "I wanted to thank you personally for saving us." "Just doing our job, Captain. Glad we could help. May I ask you something?" "Sure. Are all humans like you? So ready to fight, so willing to face danger?" Morrison thought about this. "Pretty much, yeah. I mean, we're not all soldiers, but we all grew up on the same world. We all learned the same lessons." "What lessons?" "That life is tough, but you don't give up. That sometimes you have to fight to protect what matters. That when someone needs help, you help them. Even if they're strangers? Even if they're different? Especially then. Velthara's body glowed with warm colors. That is a beautiful philosophy. It's not philosophy, Morrison said simply. It's just being human. Meanwhile, Commander Chen was studying the star charts that the Jeltari had shared with her. The galaxy was enormous, filled with hundreds of intelligent species and thousands of inhabited worlds. This is incredible, she told Dr. Vasquez over the ship's communication system. There are so many civilizations out there. And according to Captain Velthara, most of them are like the Jeltari, Elena replied. Peaceful, gentle, not equipped to handle serious threats. What happens when they run into something they can't handle? They evacuate. They abandon entire star systems rather than fight. Chen shook her head. That's not sustainable. Sooner or later, they're going to run out of places to run to. That's what I was thinking. But Sarah, there's something else. I've been talking to their scientist and she says the galaxy used to have warrior races. The Kethmori we just fought and others, but they all destroyed themselves or just disappeared. So the galaxy got rid of all its fighters and kept all its pacifists? Looks like it. Which worked fine as long as there were no new threats. But now there are humans in the galaxy, and we're not going anywhere. Captain Velthara called a meeting of her senior staff. The Jeltari gathered in their council chamber, a beautiful spherical room filled with glowing coral formations. Friends, she began, we must discuss what we have learned about the humans. They are terrifying, said Engineer Peldron, but also magnificent. They think nothing of facing mortal danger, added Science Officer Kemlatha. To them, it is just another day's work. But they are also kind, Bioengineer Kelnara said. Dr. Vasquez has been teaching me about human medicine. They have dedicated their lives to healing others, even though they come from a world of violence. The question is, Velthara said, what do we do now? When we return home, the Council will want to know everything about them. We tell the truth, Peldron said, that they are not the monsters we expected. They are protectors. But will the Council believe us? Will they accept that Deathworlders can be allies instead of enemies? They will have to, Kelnara said firmly, because the humans are not going to hide anymore. They are going to explore the galaxy, whether we invite them or not. And when other species face dangers they cannot handle, the humans will come to help them, added Kemlatha, whether we ask them to or not. Velthara glowed with decision patterns. Then we must make sure the galaxy is ready for them. We must help bridge the gap between our peoples. How? By showing everyone what we have seen, that strength and gentleness can exist together, that warriors can also be healers, and that sometimes, she added quietly, the galaxy needs both. 3 weeks later, the combined fleet approached Jeltari Prime. The gentle current led the way, followed by the human escort ship Valkyrie. Behind them came 2 more human vessels that had joined them during the journey. Captain Velthara watched her homeworld grow larger on the screens. The beautiful blue-green planet was covered in vast oceans and floating cities that glowed like jewels in the water. Home, she whispered. Commander Chen's voice came through the communication system. It's beautiful, Captain. Your people built something amazing here. Thank you, Commander. But I am worried about how they will react to your arrival. Around Jeltari Prime, defense platforms were powering up. They were not weapons in the human sense. They were designed to create energy barriers and warning signals. The Jeltari had never needed real weapons to defend their world. This is orbital control, came a nervous voice from the planet. Captain Velthara, please identify the unknown vessels accompanying you. This is Captain Velthara of the research vessel Gentle Current. The ships with us are human vessels. They rescued us from a Kethmori defense grid. I am requesting immediate counsel with the governing tide. There was a long silence. Did you say, human? From the quarantined system? Yes, and they wish to establish peaceful contact with our civilization. Captain, please maintain your current position. The governing tide is being assembled for emergency session. On the surface of Jeltari Prime, the news spread like ripples through water. The forbidden Deathworlders had come to their system. Some Jeltari glowed with fear patterns, others with curiosity. High Counselor Merthala was one of the oldest and wisest Jeltari alive. She had been there when the quarantine of the Sol system was first established, based on the terrifying reports of the Class 12 Deathworld. Are you certain these are the same beings from Sol 3? She asked the council members. Captain Velthara confirms it. replied Intelligence Coordinator Welkasa. She says they call themselves humans, and they have technology we have never seen before. And they rescued the gentle current? From a Kethmori defense grid that had held them for 3 days. The humans destroyed it in a matter of hours. Murthala's ancient body pulsed with thoughtful patterns. Bring me all the old reports about the Sol system. I want to review what we thought we knew about these beings. The files were disturbing. Earth was described as a world of violence and death, where creatures fought constantly for survival. The atmosphere was listed as poisonous to most galactic species, the gravity as crushing, the weather as catastrophically violent. According to this, Murthala said, no intelligent life should be able to survive there at all. But obviously it has, Welkasa replied. And if Captain Velthara is right, they have become very good at surviving. Too good, perhaps. The question is, are they a threat to us? Above the planet, the human ships waited patiently. Commander Chen understood that first contact was a delicate process. She had ordered her crews to keep all weapons powered down and to make no aggressive moves. Commander, Dr. Vasquez called from the science station. I'm reading massive electromagnetic activity on the planet. Looks like they're having quite a discussion down there. Can't blame them. If aliens showed up at Earth tomorrow, we'd probably be arguing about what to do too. Think they'll let us visit? They will if Captain Velthara has anything to say about it. On the gentle current, Captain Velthara was having her own urgent conversations with the planetary government. She was trying to explain something that had never happened before in galactic history. Counselor Murthala, she said during a private communication, I know this is difficult to understand, but the humans are not what our records claim they are. The records say they are violent predators from a nightmare world. The records are wrong. Yes, they are strong and dangerous when they need to be, but they are also kind and protective. They risked their lives to save strangers they had never met. But surely beings from such a violent world must be aggressive by nature. They are aggressive toward threats, yes, but we were not a threat. We were victims who needed help, and that made all the difference. Hours passed. The governing tide debated through the night, their discussions flowing like deep ocean currents. Some wanted to send the humans away immediately. Others were curious about these impossible beings from the forbidden world. Finally, High Counselor Murthala made the decision that would change the galaxy forever. We will meet with them, she announced, but with full security protocols. The meeting was arranged to take place on floating city Corthela, the capital of Jeltari Prime. The humans would be allowed to send a small delegation, and the meeting would be broadcast throughout the galaxy. Commander Chen chose her team carefully. She would go herself, along with Dr. Vasquez and Sergeant Morrison. They represented the 3 aspects of humanity that she wanted the galaxy to see: leadership, knowledge, and protection. Remember, she told them as they prepared to leave their ship, we're not just representing ourselves today. We're representing all of humanity to an entire galaxy of alien civilizations. No pressure, Morrison said with a grin. The human shuttle landed in the center of floating city Corthela. As they stepped out, they were surrounded by thousands of Jeltari who had come to see the legendary Deathworlders with their own eyes. The humans moved carefully, knowing that their every gesture was being watched and analyzed. The Jeltari kept their distance, glowing with patterns that ranged from fear to fascination. High Counselor Murthala waited for them in the Grand Assembly, a vast spherical chamber filled with water and light. She was ancient even by Jeltari standards, her body so old it had become almost completely transparent. Humans, she said, her voice carrying across the water, you are the first beings from a Class 12 death world ever to make peaceful contact with galactic civilization. We are honored to meet you. High Counselor, Commander Chen replied. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge. Yet you come from a world that our scientists believe should be uninhabitable. How do you explain this? Dr. Vasquez stepped forward. High Counselor, your scientists were not wrong about Earth being dangerous. But they made one mistake. They assumed that dangerous worlds cannot produce successful civilizations. Are you saying that the danger made you stronger? In a way, yes. Earth taught us to be tough, adaptable, and cooperative. We learned that when facing impossible odds, you don't give up. You find a way to win. Sergeant Morrison spoke up. And we learned that the strong have a duty to protect the weak. On our world, the species that survived were the ones that took care of each other. High Counselor Myrthala studied the three humans. They were so different from any beings she had ever known. Solid where the Jeltari were fluid, dense where they were delicate, built for violence where they were built for peace. But as she listened to them speak, she began to understand what Captain Velthara had tried to tell her. These were not monsters. They were protectors who had been forged by a harsh world into something the galaxy had never seen before. "What do you want from us?" she asked. "To learn," Chen said. "Your people have technologies and knowledge that could benefit all of humanity. In return, we offer our protection and our strength. You would fight to defend species you barely know?" "We already have," Morrison said simply. "We saved the gentle current because they needed help. That's what humans do." The assembled Jeltari glowed with amazed patterns as they processed this idea. A species that fought not for conquest but for protection, warriors who served others instead of themselves. "High Counselor," Chen continued, "we know our appearance here will cause concern throughout the galaxy. Deathworlders entering civilized space for the first time. But we propose something that has never existed before." "What?" "A partnership. Your people have wisdom, technology, and peaceful solutions to complex problems. We have strength, determination, and the ability to handle situations that are too dangerous for others. You are suggesting an alliance? We are suggesting something bigger than that. We are suggesting a new way for the galaxy to work, where dangerous problems are not avoided or evacuated from but solved." High Counselor Myrthala was quiet for a long time. Around her, the assembled Jeltari waited for her decision. "The galaxy has been peaceful for 1,000 years," she said finally, "but it has also been vulnerable. We have had the luxury of avoiding danger because there was always somewhere else to run." She paused, her ancient body pulsing with decision patterns. "But the galaxy is a dangerous place and running away is not always possible. Perhaps it is time we learn to stand and fight." She turned to address not just the humans, but the cameras that were broadcasting this moment to every inhabited world in known space. "I hereby establish the Galactic Emergency Response Alliance between the Jeltari Republic and the Human Federation. Let it be known throughout the galaxy that when peaceful beings face dangers they cannot handle alone, help will come. And let it also be known," she added, looking directly at the humans, "that the Deathworlders who answer those calls will always be welcome among us." Commander Chen smiled. "High Counselor, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Across the galaxy, other species watched the broadcast and realized that everything had changed. The age of gentle retreat from danger was ending.